I'm ready when you are, Tom.
Rolling.
Let's see how we have this. All right, I'm ready when you are. Kyle, we can't do our job effectively or efficiently without technology. However, technology can also be a massive distraction, time suck, shiny object that agents run towards as opposed to doing the tried and true tasks. I want to talk about a few tech tools that agents that are listening can dial in their business today without spending a bunch of time, energy, effort, while still maintaining their day-to-day. Fair?
Fair. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because I've been relatively outspoken recently about like none of us need any new shit. We just need to use the shit we already have. Like,
Yep,
we don't
you have
need,
been.
Yeah, like I've been very outspoken. I just did an interview for EXP earlier today, and that was a big part of the interview. Like, what led to your success this past year? Nothing new. But there are some new things that I think just as time evolves, these are more out of necessity than out of, I don't know what the right term would be, but just things that are unnecessary. Sure. So I think we don't need any new unnecessary stuff, but there are some necessary changes we need to make due to changes in laws, into FCC communication and things like that. So
and
that's
consumer expectation.
consumer behavior. So that's what I'm excited to dive into that today. It should be fun.
Let's do it.
Welcome to the Whissel Way podcast. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with EXP Realty in San Diego.
And I'm Bryan Koci.
The goal of the show is to give you the tools, techniques, and tactics to crush it in your business. The way that we like to do that is to answer the questions that you have for us. So if you ever have a question you want to have us answer on the show, you can always go to thewhisselway.com. Ask us questions on there. Subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel. Join our private Facebook group and email newsletter to share tips and tricks of what we're working on our personal team. Get on our referral list for everybody leaving California. And if you want to step up your content creation game, Brian and I put a little course together of everything we've learned over the last 9 years together, creating audio, video, social content. Share all that stuff with you. And you get a chance to mastermind with us a couple times a month as well. So all of that is at thewhisselway.com. Let's roll.
So let's get into it first. You kind of alluded to some FCC stuff. We talked about consumer behavior. First thing let's talk about is text messaging.
Yeah, so this is the thing, guys. If you're relying on emails, now don't get me wrong, I love freaking emails. I think emails are important, but if you're relying on that as like your communication with your clients or how you're going to get new leads to respond to you, I think you're just sorely mistaken. You know, if you think about just Brian, for you, roughly how many emails do you get a day? I mean, if you just had a guess.
150.
150? Okay. And so 150 times 7, that is over 1,000 in a week. So 1,050. And I think the most studies say it's higher than that. That's probably your unfiltered. Like,
I get a bunch that I just never even look
or
at.
Promotions and all the other things. Like, that's just the ones that you actually have to read, right? That you actually are taking the time to read. You're probably getting another couple hundred a day that are getting filtered by Gmail or whatever service you're using. So how many text messages are you getting in a day?
15.
Okay.
Well, if I'm on a group chat, then like 400, but I just scroll through those.
So which is more likely to stand out to you?
Text message,
Text
for sure.
message number 16 or email number 151?
I hate email.
Exactly.
Like it's funny. We talk to our new agents and I say, look, we'll handle emailing for you. Like, it's great. So that way we make sure things don't fall through the cracks. We can give more information, but you're not building relationships via a brand new email. For sure. Text message you can, right?
So let me give you another scenario with options. So very clearly, text message 16 is going to stand out more than email 151.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you get a phone call from a number you don't recognize versus a text message from a number you don't recognize, but the text message provides value, are you more likely to answer the call from an unknown number or a number that you don't know? If it says unknown, you're not going to answer it, but even a number that you're not familiar with, it's probably a better choice of words. Or are you more likely to respond to a text message if it's relevant?
Text through 100%.
Okay.
I mean, I have 100 unread voicemails right now, and I don't have any intention to go through them
because you know they're from people that you're unfamiliar with.
Yep.
Instead, and we'll do that as opposed to unknown. So it's pretty clear that the best way to get stuff through. Now, not that we shouldn't email, shouldn't also call, but if you don't have texting as a part of your follow-up strategy, especially with new leads, like I think you are missing the mark massively. So I would just encourage you, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, that you need to make sure you're incorporating text messages in there. And I would argue, like people are always like, what's your text campaign? What's your text campaign? Well, I don't have one. I actually think about the inquiry. I think about the person. I think about the price point, the location, the property type, the market, the economy, the world, and I send relevant text messages. Because if you're just putting people on text campaigns, you could actually hurt your deliverability rate. If you're just blasting out a ton of random ass texts that never get any responses, it's actually pretty important that when you're sending text, you're getting people to respond to them so the carriers recognize you and don't filter, because you can send ghost text where you think you sent it, but it actually just went into space. They ghosted you. So it's important to incorporate text, but also have well thought out text messages. So you need to tie into whatever the initial inquiry was, not just, hey, it's Kyle, your local realtor. Call me when you're free. Like, that's not going to be relevant, as opposed to, hey, it's Kyle. I saw that you inquired on 123 Main Street. That's an amazing home. I took a look. I confirmed it's still available, and we could go check it out tomorrow. Call me when you're free. I'd love to set up a time. Like, that hits different.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a crucial thing, is you need to incorporate text messages into all your follow-up, but it can't just be scripted, repetitive text. And also, if you send the same text over and over, that actually could hurt you with deliverability as well.
Yeah, and you're going to find more and more and more CRMs will either not allow you to text or mass text or make you jump through a bunch of hoops. I was just talking to a buddy of mine today, and he said, oh, you can do this. And I said, Follow Boss is very, very, very protective with their text, because, meaning you can't mass text. And I've tried a bunch of different workarounds and found they didn't work. And then I email support and they go, yeah, we don't allow mass text and you can't do this workaround. And they're right, because like you said, it hurts deliverability. It's going to hurt. Therefore, then when you call, the carrier's gonna be like, this is a junk number. Just don't make anything go through. And so being very specific, very, very intentional, and very value driven is going to be important. And also, when you send a mass text, you have to do things like say stop to opt out. People are getting very aware of this, and it feels and it seems like a mass text, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get harder.
Yeah, and there's little tricks in there. So we just did an event. We did a lot of mass texting. There's a really smart strategy. Like if you're texting a list for the first time, what you could do, like that event, is send a message. Hey, it's Kyle Whissel. We're going to use this service to keep you updated throughout the event. I just want to confirm, is this Brian? And then get you to respond to that text is freaking brilliant, because automatically now the carrier's like, oh, two-way, and it's going to continue to help push those emails through.
If you really want to get responses, call everyone the wrong name. I did that, got a lot of responses.
Yeah, that was painful. Like, here,
I
you
dealt
deal
with
with
it.
this. Yeah, you deal with this, Brian. Also, when you send that text message, when you put your name in it, a lot of the carriers will now associate that number with that name. So when you make a call subsequently, it will actually say maybe Kyle Whissel in that call when it's coming through, as opposed to unknown caller.
It even says it in the text messages. I got one today that said, maybe Kyle.
Yeah,
So
it's really freaking powerful. So just incorporating a solid text campaign and using it wisely, not using canned messages, trying to use specific messages, trying to force engagement, all of those. Now, cannot replace phone calls. You still got to make the freaking phone calls. Like, I know, especially you Gen Zers, yeah, you got to make the phone calls. I'm sorry. It's still part of reality. People still want to talk on the phone when they're going to drop hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. So you do have to send, or do have to make phone calls. I think once you're in relationship, you can transition a little bit more toward text messages, but initiating relationships, you got to get on the phone.
Yeah, and some ways to shortcut this. Again, we want to be specific. We want to be personable. But what you can always do, I know Follow Up Boss has this, I'm sure every CRM has this, is you can create text templates. And so you can have, utilize ChatGPT, utilize AI, utilize Google, right? And say, hey, give me some follow-up text templates for an open house, and you can have 10 of them, and you can, maybe you have one that is for a house with a pool or a house near the beach or whatever, and you can use that as your starting point. I wouldn't use the same one over and over, but you can use this as my base and go, oh yeah, I like how this flows, or I like this call to action, just to help you get started with it, rather than going, okay, now a new lead came in, what should I say? I can get caught up in getting distracted with that. So, okay, text and follow up. I love that.
Yeah.
What else?
So the other one is even taking this one step further, and more specifically with how you're delivering properties to your clients. So my favorite thing is text messaging properties to clients, but I'm actually not aware of a platform that will push, most call it like e-alerts or property alerts. Most systems only email. Like the only way that you push property matches out to clients is via email. I'm actually not aware. Maybe one exists. If you know of one, like let me know. I'm actually curious which one does. I'm not aware of one that when a new match comes up that it'll text the client. Probably because they're scared they're going to get spam, because if you send a ton of the text and you never get a response, it's going to hurt. So I would imagine that's probably why most platforms.
Or it's expensive. The
amount
you send is going to be.
I've always prioritized texting properties to my clients, but there's a lot of manual work with that. But I know that by doing it, I increase the deliverability and the visibility of those. But right now, most platforms are just emailing this stuff, at least automatically. So if you can't text automatically, and therefore we're all relying on email, it's really hard to freaking push emails through. And again, you said you're getting 150 like that you read on top of the promotional spam, all the other shit. So the solution, right? I mean, the last time I bought a house, and even today, like we were just in South Carolina, I've been looking at property. Like I love using Redfin. Why do I love using Redfin? Because when a new house hits the market, I get a damn notification. I don't have to go get an email, click on a link in an email, wait for a website to load, all this shit. Like I get a notification, I tap on it, and boom, I'm looking at the property instantaneously. So being able to deliver push notifications, I think, is essential, especially as less people answer the phone, more stuff gets marked spam, calls to all these other things. We got to be able to push stuff through. And so the beauty is having an app that you can get a client to download and you can get push notifications. Second. Third, that it integrates with your CRM.
And fourth, and that's the third one. That's the same thing.
Yeah, there's been some platforms previously where you could get an app, but it doesn't talk to your CRM. So now your client's got like one search on an app and another search in your platform, Lofty, Ylopo, Sierra, whatever. Like, so you have two totally different platforms that aren't talking to each other. Like trying to merge all that together is a hot mess. So there's a company that we just got dialed in with called Rooster. I think it's Ruuster, Rooster. And they have a platform. They're fully integrated with Sierra right now. They're building their integration fully with Ylopo right now, arguably two of the biggest platforms out there. And full seamless integration. The app is clean AF. I love it. It's really, really clean. And now if a client saves a search on my Ylopo site and a new property comes up, Ylopo is going to email them and Rooster is going to send a notification to them. I think it's going to increase the visibility and the views on properties exponentially because we're now pushing. And so the beauty of that too is because the app is just as good, if not better. I don't know why people use Zillow's app, to be honest. I don't think it's actually that great. I think Redfin,
I have it.
I think Redfin smokes it.
Okay.
But the app is really good. So even some of these other apps that have existed are not that great. Like this app is so clean, smooth, it's buttery, it's very attractive visually, and consumers will use it. And if they're now using your app as opposed to using Redfin or Zillow, you mitigate risk of them going to work with an agent that they got connected to via one of those platforms. So you're able to increase your deliverability and visibility and mitigate your client getting some wandering eyes because they clicked a button on one of these websites and now you got a Redfin agent trying to discount, like give back some of their commission, or some random Zillow agent that now you got to compete with. So it's a really good way to keep clients in your web, so to speak.
A couple other things that you didn't mention that are really valuable with this specific company, but I'm sure others as well. One, it also has a lot of room for you to share what makes you valuable, so you can sell to them while they're using the app. They can see what programs you offer and vendor lists and all that sort of stuff. But two, not only will it send push notifications to them, not only will it connect there, and that's all good, right? What's even better is then it goes back to you. It's that two-way integration of you. Now you know, oh, they looked at this house, they favorited this house. That comes back and all lives in one system. I was meeting with one of the large companies, and they said, oh, look how great our website is. And I agree, beautiful website. Look at all these things we have. Oh, that's great, we don't have that. And they go, and we have the search site, and I'm like, now I have to tell my agents to set them up on our search, set up them on this search, follow what they're doing there, follow what they're doing. It splits focus absurdly. And then it makes you look silly when they favorited this one, and then they said, property B is not for me. And then you text them, hey, look at this really cool property. Like, I just told you it's not for me. So having it all in one place, having a very laser focus is something we're super excited about for it.
Yeah, so that is going to be a massive improvement. I've been wanting this for a long, long time, and Ylopo just had so many other things they're working on that they didn't have the time to build it. So the guys from Rooster were like, heard, we'll build it ourselves, and we'll make it, and we can integrate with everybody. So it's a super smooth platform. So if you guys want, I can make a connection, become good friends with the owners of the company. So you can always just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Kyle Whissel, and I'll get you connected. They'll give you guys a demo, and if it's a fit, cool.
And then three, we can't talk about tech without talking about AI of sorts. Let's do this one kind of a bonus or a spitfire round. What are some things that you're seeing in AI that is making your job, your role as a team leader, as a content creator, as a whatever? What are some things that you're utilizing? I'll say some things that we're utilizing to make things better.
To make things better, just to create videos is obviously you can go in and say, I want to create a video about this or that, but you could also take other people's videos and you can throw it into AI and say like, hey, take this person's video that I think is really good and give me whatever I want out of it. Break it into the 5, most important things that they shared in this video. And then just, pick the ones, take the 3 that you like and make it your own. Like you could easily take other people's content and then you can DJ it and make it your own content by spinning it and making it somewhat unique and making it your own. So I love using it for that. We're starting to even use BI. So a lot of people are really big on AI, which obviously it's artificial intelligence, but it's like think like a human would think, but like do it really fast and like the whole wrap around the world in a split second, where BI is something that we're starting to integrate into our business to help us make business decisions. So instead of you having to put the inputs in and then AI spitting back out what to do, BI is actually going in and looking at the data within your business and helping you make business intelligent decisions. So that's something I actually haven't heard a single real estate person talk about BI, but I know was one of the rocks we worked on this past quarter, and one that's going to be something we continue to work on throughout the year is integrating business intelligence so that we can have technology go and look at everything that's happening in the business and spit out reports and make adjustments automatically based on the data that it's reading.
I love that. 2 that we're using that we really love, and we've talked about this before, I won't stop talking about it until it gets bad, is Opus Clip or Opus.pro.
Yeah.
It'll take long form content, cut it up into short form content. Now they have a new editor to where you can adjust so if it gives me a 30-second clip, I can go in and edit it and it'll show me 60 seconds worth of text. So then I can say, oh, I actually wanted to start it 15 seconds earlier. I want to end it 5 seconds later, and you can adjust it. You can have captions, all sorts of really cool stuff. I know they're integrating AI B-roll into their into the tool at some point. I think it's the end of April is their plan, and so that's really cool. And then Descript, we're utilizing as a really easy way to edit videos, create AI videos with just stock footage, and they have stock footage in there. They have music in there. They have you can have AI people reading it, which we've done, but even just editing it and sending it from an editor to a QC person makes it really easy as opposed to using Adobe Premiere. Those are 2 tools that we're utilizing that have a lot of AI in them that we're really utilizing to speed up our workflow.
Yeah, I know that Follow Boss is rolling out their AI I've seen some of the beta stuff of it, but they're rolling out AI. So like when you go to type a text message, you can type the way that you're thinking, and you could hit a button and use AI to rewrite it in a better way than what you were thinking. So you could use it there. It can record the phone calls and then summarize the phone call for you, so it could minimize the issue with like an agent having a really good phone call and forgetting to write some stuff down because they were in the car. It's taking notes for them, action steps for them. Like, that's fire. That's so fire.
I'm very much looking forward to that. I've been looking forward to call transcriptions for a long time, and I'm like, where are we at on that? And they go, I see you that, and I'll raise you 10. Oh, okay, that's way better than my idea.
Yeah,
So
you
good
got
on you.
Ylopo using AI voice right now. Now I'm an early adopter on a lot. That one I'm gonna be a mid adopter. I'm not gonna be a late adopter, but I'm not gonna be the early adopter on that one. So I'm letting some other people be the early adopters on that stuff. But the AI voice, I mean, that's just gonna get better and better. I was at Carl's Jr. the other day and order food, and they're using full AI for their drive-throughs.
I noticed that too. And I was like, all right, it was a little slow, but it was all right.
Yeah, I mean they're an early adopter in it, so more power to them. So
I liked it.
That they fuckers didn't give me my barbecue sauce when I got my chicken tenders. So
That wasn't AI's fault.
that was AI's fault. Yeah, so it's not perfect yet. That's the worst though, when you go through a drive-through and then you don't get everything you asked for, but you don't realize it until you've already driven away, and you're like, do I go back and do I go get the barbecue sauce? Like, I'm already on the freeway. That's like, now it's a 10-minute detour to go back. Or these idiots like give you some like a salad and no fork. And you're like, bro, how am I gonna eat this? Like,
Chick-fil-A has done that to me on many occasions.
Yeah.
And you can't eat Chick-fil-A without Chick-fil-A sauce.
Chick-fil-A is not that good.
Their sauce is great.
Yeah, but their actual chicken's not very good.
I enjoy it just fine.
Well,
right.
okay, eat it without the sauce then if it's good.
Well, no, I can't do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's get to our widget, huh?
Cool. Hopefully you guys got some value out of this. If you did, if you're listening on a podcast platform, make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you can check out our future episodes. We've done a few hundred of these things now, and write a little review about us or give us 5 stars. That stuff means the world to us. And then if you're listening or watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up button, let YouTube know you enjoyed the content. If you have questions, throw them in the comment section. Brian and I personally respond to all of those. And if you want more of our content, hit the subscribe button as well as the little notification bell, and YouTube will take care of the rest. Before we wrap up the show, we like to do a little something we call the Whissel Widget of the Week. It's something we utilize in our business. It saves us time, makes us more money, or just helps us have a little bit more fun. What do you got, Brian?
Mine, especially since we're talking about tech, we've been doing some exercises with the leadership team lately, going through all of our expenses, and you've shared the pump it or dump it analogy. Should we put more money in or stop spending money on it? What we are doing, what we're really focusing on right now is, what are we paying for on a monthly basis? What are our subscriptions that we're doing? What are our dues that we're doing? And can we flip it to an annual subscription? And when we do that, we usually save anywhere from 10 to 30% on the annual subscription. So I know a lot of times I'll start with a monthly subscription, see if I like it, but then I'll forget to switch it. And so pretty quickly I'm having things that I have for years, but doing monthly subscriptions. Switching it over to an annual subscription can usually, like I said, save you about an average of 20% for something that you're using all the time. So look through what you got, see if you can flip it and save some money.
Cool. I will go with, this is somebody, we've actually talked about them before, but they've really innovated their platform in recent months to make it a lot faster, more visually appealing, and it's Sisu. So our friends over at Sisu, we've been with them for years now. They've evolved the platform massively. They've added, since we started with them, they've added transaction coordination, client portals, all kinds of cool stuff. But it's a really, really cool system for managing our sales team and understanding what's happening in our business, knowing how many units have we closed, how many do we have pending, what are the sources on them, what's return on investment, what are we trending toward with budget, with goal, all kinds of really cool stuff in our business. And then they've recently released Sisu Next, which is their next generation platform, which way more visually appealing, and it accesses the database so much faster. Because one of our gripes has always been like, the good thing is we do a lot of transactions. The bad thing is we do a lot of transactions. So when we need to go find data in the previous platform, it was relatively slow, or at least slower than we wanted it to be. So with the Sisu Next platform, it's significantly faster, which really increases our enjoyment level of the platform. So Check it out, Sisu, and especially the Sisu Next platform. Awesome, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed the show today. If you want to stay connected at Bryan Koci, at Kyle Whissel on Instagram. Would love to stay connected with you guys. Hope you got a lot of value out of the show today. We'll see you next week on the Whissel Way podcast.
Good job. Those are 2 good ones. We need to get back to doing 2 a week.
Even when you're getting all these ones with other people?
Yeah. And right now we've got 3 in the bank, but we only had 1 before today. So.
For those weird off chances when you're out, or like just trying to think ahead for his paternity leave and stuff.
I'll just bring the baby. Baby Philip will be our co-host. Are you good? Yeah. Today on the podcast, we talk a lot about technology. And often you'll hear Kyle and I talk about, hey, you need less, focus on the core pillars of your business. But there's 3 kind of areas in technology that we talked about that aren't necessarily what we consider a shiny object or a distraction, but more something that you need in your business, a requirement almost, as we go into this year and the future. So if you're looking at ways to give your clients, your agents, a better experience, make sure you check out this week's episode of Real Estate Success, The Whissel Way.